Hey everyone, welcome to the Spiritual Underground podcast. As always, I am your host, Dan Reeves. If you're just coming upon this podcast for the first time, I'm primarily 12-step recovery based content. I do have the luxury, the privilege, the honor of this higher power thing sends me people who are also carrying various kinds of spiritual messages and I like them because they fall into the category of where our book says we need to continue to enlarge our spiritual life, continue to grow spiritually, and things like that. So I get all these great people coming in, knocking on the door, and bringing whatever's working for them to us. No different than a man did some years ago when I come into 12 steps. A guy said, "Hey, I got something that's working for me. Maybe it will work for you." And I'll be doggone if it didn't. So, I'm going to start off with just a little story. My guest today, Scott, I try to impress upon him how much he means to me, and I hope he feels that because over the years, it's been a bunch of years now, and a bunch is relative, right? But a dozen years that since somebody handed me a link that had Scott L. Speaker tape on the internet, and I listened to it. And from then to now, his frequency, the way he delivers what he has, the gifts he has just resonated with me. And and I listened and listened and listened. And then sometime down the road, I had this opportunity to get in touch with him. And it was one of these cool things that happens in 12-step recovery. I have a, I have in my phone a miracle list of cool things that has happened as a result of me jumping into God's pocket and start trying to do my best to do whatever it is I think He wants me to do. And some of them are I didn't have to go to prison. I was looking at 6 to 20 years. I didn't spend a day in jail. The relationships. I'm friends with the probation officer that had the key to my ankle bracelet that I wore for 9 months. And instead of being an adversarial type of relationship, it became a come together and become friends in over the years. And she's come to quite a few of my sobriety birthdays, and just various things. And then out of the blue, a friend of mine says, "Hey, I heard Scott L on a Zoom meeting the other night, and he told me whose meeting it was, and I knew the man who was doing it." And I thought, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary pass. And I texted him and asked him if I could get a hold of him, if he would please give me your number, and if there's some way I could get a hold of you. And that's happened. And you've been on the podcast. Scott's been on the podcast a few times. I had a wonderful time with him just not long ago down at his house. Where we did off of the book before this one, the anger and grief relief. Scott uh, graciously led me through the workshops in that avenue, and I'm just tickled pink that I actually from that speaker tape on the internet some dozen years ago, I get to call him my friend today. And it just is so heartwarming to me, man. I mean, like all my friends are jealous because they listen to him too, and they know because I give him credit for most of what, I don't know much. What I know is what people have given me gifts wise. The knowledge that I carry mostly has been given to me by my teachers, and Scott is definitely one of the big ones in that department. And my friend Ross has a meeting, and he started it out doing. He calls it cover to cover. It's much like Scott's page 112 meeting. It started out reading the big book, and they were looking for books, and they've read Sandy Beach's Drop the Rock and Clarence's New Pair of Glasses. And when this book come out, my buddy Ross, he was just chomping at the bit to make at the next. And they do a group conscious and vote on it. So now every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock in the morning, I run over to my buddy Ross's apartment, and there's about a dozen of us sitting around there with this book in our hand. Life is a school, love is the subject, and we're reading it. And there's some magic that happens when these kind of events happen. They do, and everybody's connecting, and we're share, and you're allowed just to stop. Anybody in the middle of their reading, we kind of pass it around, and we stop and we discuss it and we talk about the stuff, and it's been going so great, and they know that you're on the show tonight, so they all wanted to show their appreciation. And Ross said I needed to definitely say his name on this podcast, or he was going to have a problem. I sponsor Ross. Uh, but welcome to the show, Scott. I know it's a little bit of a lengthy intro, but again, I'm just tickled. My heart is just warmed so much by the fact that I've actually gotten in contact with you and been able to begin to build a relationship with you.
Well, Dan, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be back, and I'll brag on you just a little bit. I've done that anger and grief work with hundreds of people. You did some fine work. Privileged to work with you, and a privilege to be on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, golly, it's just, I mean, I try to now and again I have some friends and whatever, higher power gave me some words to try to explain this. And I know this is a little over the top at some level, but when people say, I say, just imagine that you're a high school quarterback and Tom Brady decides that he's going to come give you a tip or two, maybe even invite you to his house. And that is much the way that I feel about what's happened here. We say you're not supposed to put people up on a pedestal and all that kind of stuff, but I admire some men in recovery, and my goal is to absorb as much of this into me so that I can pass it forward. And my sponsor and you got sober the same year. That's pretty cool too. Uh, and I think you've got almost 20 years on him age wise, but and it's interesting
Yeah,
that
everybody's young to me.
yeah. Well, we've been getting a bunch out of this book, reading it. Mine is already, Scott gifted me with one of the draft versions of it, and he signed it for me. One of the things when we're reading, I'm a few pages off of them, page numbers. So they'll ask me what page number we're on, and I'm not the guy to ask. It's the other people do, but they're getting a little dog-eared. And I'll tell you one last thing before we turn it over mostly to you. I had that retreat back in June, and I just received this book from you, and I run across that love meditation in there, and you had also sent me some videos that talked about how to do that, and in my opening ceremony for the retreat this year, I did the love meditation right out of this book directly. And then the other day, we hit it in our little group reading thing too. And another sponsee of mine, so blessed to have these men in my life, that Travis read the love meditation to us and guided us through that the other day. Just, I think it was the week before last.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is.
I think I've missed maybe 10 days in the last 35, 36 years on that. So no, 30 years, I guess. That was born in October of 89.
89.
Yeah. The first men's retreat I led, there were four of us. And we were sitting around in this beautiful cabin, Fall Creek Falls State Park, an hour or so east of Nashville. And we'd been there a couple of days reading spiritual literature and talking about it. And it was just a fabulous thing that was going on with us. And on Saturday night, we're sitting there in this cabin, and there's nothing going on except us and a little fire in the stone fireplace. It's the only light we had. And we were talking about a woman in our home group who had just come out of a coma.
Mm.
And she said while she was in the coma, she could feel the love and the prayers being sent to her. And the love meditation was born. We didn't write it, we didn't create it, it arrived.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
And it has been a stay for me. I had the privilege of leading men's retreats, usually somewhere between 3 and 6 every year. And I always take that with me. And I use it myself daily. It's just beautiful.
It is. Yep. I made it a piece of my regular routine too. Since since you first gave it to me back when we first started talking about doing the workshop at your place and all that, and you gave me this little list of stuff to do, like try to be 10 minutes early.
That's it. That's
Let
it.
somebody in if they turn on their turn signal.
Let them in. You bet. It just
Yep.
take the pressure off you. It's interesting. You made a football reference. I've got one in this book. One of the little blurbs is entitled Lombardi.
We ain't got there yet, I don't think.
I think I got it out of Jerry Kramer's Green Bay Diary. I don't know.
Hmm.
The story is Lombardi on his first or second spring practice had the Packers doing what they call two-a-days. That's 2 practices a day in pads, full contact. It's rough as a stucco toilet seat kind of thing. It's just tough. And he didn't think they were working hard enough. And he kept yelling at him, and they kept not. And he finally got mad at him. He announced 3-a-days.
Mm.
And one of the D-backs turned to his buddy, and he said, "He can work me long, but he can't work me hard." That's one of the great truths. Through my life, there have been people who could work me long. I'm the only one who can work me hard.
Yeah, that is
I
great.
need to make some decisions as to where I'm going to do that. There's another one in here in the title of Spend Time. It occurred to me that time is the most valuable commodity I have. Spend it means to exchange it for something I think is of equal or greater value. That's when I spend money. That's what I do, is I exchange. So I exchange my time, this terribly valuable commodity, every day. Need to make sure I'm spending rather than squandering or wasting. That perspective has changed some things for me.
Yeah. Yeah, those little turns of the dial, you know, that we get that help us, like, you know, change that perspective a little bit and can make a world of difference. Like I think that goes on to talk about the word invest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Is you invest because you're looking for a return.
Yeah.
Have every reason to expect one if you invested well.
Yep. And it
So
absolutely is our most valuable thing, you know, and you probably, you know, if what for your first bunch of years, I don't think we're built to understand that in the beginning. I don't know that, you know, there may
no,
be some special people that are, but I certainly wasn't built to
I
understand
was
that
not
in the
one of
beginning.
those.
And but as time goes by, I understand that concept a whole lot more, and am careful about where there's a term, you know, how did we squander the hours, right? And I try to make that the least amount of my life today as possible, the squandering of hours.
Yes, yes, I'm with you all the way on that. That I don't want to squander it. My time is becoming more and more valuable. I got old. It happened on a Wednesday about 3 weeks ago, and just all of a sudden, boom, I was old. Now, I never expected to get old. You've heard the story. I had every reason to believe I would not get old, and I consequently don't have any plans. But I'm old, and it came really, really fast. And my time is now more valuable than it ever was.
Yeah.
More valuable than it ever was. I had a working title for this book. The title, Life as a School, Love as a Subject, I think is so powerful. It tells the story of what I believe. I believe life is a school. I believe I probably flunked out of somewhere else. I was expelled as a behavior problem. If you've heard the whole story, it makes perfect sense. And and it's about love. It's
Yeah.
about learning to love. What is that? Well, it's the ability to sit quietly while someone else talks and hear them with my entire being, not sit there writing this brilliant thing I'm going to say when they finally shut up, which is my history, but to listen with my entire being. It's a very loving action. Let people in traffic. Look for ways to lift other people's spirits. One of the things I talk about it here is greetings. There's a popular one made popular by a radio host here in Nashville. How are you doing? Better than I deserve, he says. I want to throw up when I hear that. That's a lie. We're God's kids. So these are the greetings that I use, and I'm not reading them, just the ones I can remember. How am I? I'm blessed almost to tears. How am I? My life's so good, I think I must be God's favorite kid. How am I? If it gets any better, I'm probably have to become twins so I could just receive it all. How am I? If the genie pops out of the bottle and says 3 wishes, I'm gonna have to tell him to take the day off and call me tomorrow. I got nothing to ask for. My favorite came from my old friend Ed Mutum. I said to him one day, how are you? And he said, so much better for seeing you.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that powerful?
That is powerful.
But to be on the search for ways to lift other people's spirits. The incoming tide lifts all boats. I want that tide to be made of love and joy. And so I do everything I can to put that into the tide. And what I found is if I'm pouring love and joy all over you, it splatters onto me every time.
Yeah, I like it. The
This
book says sloshing it on you.
sloshes.
So
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. If I'm sloshing it all over you, it splatters onto me.
Yeah.
Aren't those great verbs?
Yeah, they definitely are.
Great.
Jump in with just a real quick little story.
Yeah.
So one of my dear sponsees, and again, I can talk forever about these men. I could do a whole podcast just over these wonderful men God has come and asked me to usher through this work, and as things happen. But one of them's getting married here in a couple of weeks, and he's honored me with being in his wedding. I'm considerably older than him. Most of these guys I'm running around with, and you might have this same thing. I will be 56 in a couple of weeks, and I'm running around with a bunch of guys that are 20 years younger than me. And they had a bachelor party, sober bachelor party down Chattanooga. We drove through Nashville on the way there to a lake, Chickamauga Lake, and
Chickamauga. Yeah.
we just had a good day on the lake with a boat. One of the guys rented a boat, and we tubed all day and got all wore out, ate sandwiches and
Yeah.
drank pops out on the lake and all that. And we're on the way home, and I popped out that little thumb drive you gave me. And I said, "Would you like to listen to a tape?" And I was telling him about that you had gave this to me. And I popped it in there, and we're sitting there listening, and I'm pretty sure it's Bob B. And he's talking. And now my friend, he don't understand the significance of this, but he said, as a friend has said to me, life is a school, love is the subject. Now this is like I don't 19. I would date this speaker tape as someplace in the 90s. I don't. It's not new
I don't know.
because the references he was using, how we do, was a long time ago, and I don't know if that where the connection is, but that's another one of these just
Okay.
beautiful things, that I'm cooking down the road, and this guy that you gave me the tape of pops the title of this book out.
That's where I got the title. And I had the privilege 2 weeks ago of handing him a copy autographed and thanking him for it.
So Bob B still around?
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow,
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Yeah. My working title for a long time was this one, Love is the Fifth Dimension. And it's a concept given to me by a guy named Jared, a friend of mine from Montreal, Canada, who said maybe love is the fifth dimension. He said, Einstein said the fourth dimension was time. The first three are width, depth, height, and the fourth one was time. And I read a book one time that said that happiness, peace, and usefulness were the things that I could expect to get. Well, that made sense to me. Happiness, Aristotle said everybody wants to be happy. I'll buy that. I want that for myself. And peace, yes, I want to be peaceful, calm in here, collected. Why is usefulness on the list? The answer is there's no direct route into happiness and peace. There's side effects of being useful.
Yeah.
And so this thing about love is the fifth dimension. So what he said was that I need to stay in the fifth dimension. I'm trapped in the other four. I am trapped in width, height, and depth. And I'm trapped right here in this moment of time. Although I used to give myself the illusion of getting out with alcohol, and I'm actually what they call tri-addicted. I'm addicted to everything I tried. And I used to give myself the illusion of getting out, but I wasn't really getting out. But to be in the fifth dimension of love, I can fall out of that. So it requires effort. And I want to read the last couple of paragraphs in this one. He said, suppose we agree to meet on a particular street corner. The physical dimensions of height, width, and depth are defined by the street corner. We will agree on the time, which clearly defines the fourth dimension. To meet in the fifth dimension, at least one of us will need to show up immersed in love. It's infinitely better if we both arrive wrapped in love, but one's enough. And I will always be responsible for being that one. When I'm immersed in love, the other dimensions, all that go with them, seem to lose their importance. Marvelous happenings occur in the precious fifth dimension of love that occur nowhere else. Part of my morning prayers, I ask God every morning to bless me, to empty me of self and fill me with his love, shake it together, pressed down, heaped up, overflowing, that make gush out of me over everyone I meet today. No exceptions. Most especially those that I find unlovable, because they're the ones that need it the most.
It's easy to love the lovable, right? That's not
Nothing
the
to it.
problem. That doesn't take a lot of my
Nothing
energy.
to it. And there's another one in here. This is something that came to me about a year or so ago. It occurred to me that I'm trapped in this body. I'm stuck in here. As I said before, I used to give myself the illusion of getting out, but I'm stuck in here. Well, so are they. They is everybody else I meet. They're stuck in there. And some of them are not happy about it.
Yeah.
Some are not happy about the height, the color, the size, the amount of intelligence, the color of the eyes, the lack of hair or having too much. Some of them are really unhappy about that body. And I need to do everything I can to be gentle with them, because I don't know how high a price someone's paid just to get this far, just to get to this day. I don't know what kind of price they paid. And I don't want to make anybody else's journey any harder. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. And I don't want to make anybody's journey any more difficult. Some of them are trapped in there, and it's a difficult trap. And until they find out, and I hope they all do, that this loving, laughing God who created the stars and the duck-billed platypus was not having a bad day when he put me, this spirit that I think of myself, in this body. It was the perfect selection for me, as was yours for you, as is all of theirs for them. And the fact that they don't like some of it, to quote the judge, is not germane. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's what you got.
And as you talk about in the book time and time again, and I think everybody can relate to this, is that one of my biggest enemies is my propensity to judge people because they don't have hair or because they're bigger than I think they ought to be or littler than they ought to be. And it's such, I don't know. It's a funny thing because I do believe that we were made in the image of God. I believe that. But we also at the same time got saddled with some stuff that I know is cross purposes to that. And this need and this getting over this judgment and being in a spot where that I can be loving, heck, can I just not be mean? Sometimes sometimes that was a victory. Just don't do any harm, you know.
Yeah,
But
it's
I want to be
certainly a
somebody
time.
that rises past that and be
Yeah,
somebody that can be because you do see it as we walk through the grocery stores and we see these people, and you and I have been blessed because we've been given some gifts that give us some, this connection and this thing that, I feel like I operate on a different plane, and I don't mean to make that meaning that I'm any better than anybody else. That is not what I'm saying. I have received a gift that's allowing me to operate here on some plane that I don't get, but I'm having a great time. I feel if you're God's first best favorite kid, I'm someplace in the next couple few. And to be able to not be that guy that I used to be as I walk through and maybe lift somebody in the grocery store like you do with your bubbles and clown noses and whatever you want to use, because sometimes all it takes is a smile.
that's
Sometimes
it.
that's
That's
all it
why I wear the
takes.
bow tie. I wear a bow tie every day. I mean, I will have 1 or 2 days a year where I don't want to wear one. I wear one every day. And I can't see it. It's not for me, it's for them. People look at a bow tie and smile. Most days I get at least one comment on it.
Yeah.
Then I match the socks to the bow tie. And when they notice that, it really lights them up. And it's just about spreading joy,
There
sloshing
you
on
go. Yeah.
sliders onto me.
Yep.
That's part of that.
I like somebody handed me something about like there's some talk about what your strongest muscle is, and some people would say it's your tongue and your heart and your other kind of things. And I had somebody present to me that no, my strongest muscle is actually my smile. And I should exercise it as much as I can every day because it's the only nobody cares about my biceps. Nobody. but I can have an effect and make an impact on the world around me if I will walk around and exercise this muscle right here.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. Spread that joy. Spread that joy. I I like uplifting stories, and I've got one in here that really strikes me. A lady friend of mine, actually, she's in Texas, um, was working with a woman who had prostituted herself. And when it came time for her to make amends, she felt like she owed herself amends.
Mm.
Generally, I think that is not true.
Yeah, it's funny stuff there.
It's generally not so. This is an exception. And this is what they came up with. She sat down and with a pencil and figured out how much money she thought she'd made that way. And then she went out and earned that same amount of money by legitimate means and donated it to Magdalene House and some other similar charities. What she
Wow.
said was, I sold my self esteem. I'm buying it back.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that powerful?
That
If I
is,
could tell the universe a single thing, that might be it. I think it's that important. This idea that I don't have the power to make a mistake so ugly that God can't turn it into wonderful.
yeah.
That's who I am. That's who He is really that simple. In the category, if I could tell the universe a single thing, it might be this next one. I shared this with somebody the other day, having trouble with a child. Choice is never singular. Choice is never singular. When I choose something, I choose everything that goes with it. Choose not to have any of the things that can't go with it.
Mm.
It is never singular. When I choose to watch a TV program, I also choose not to watch any of the other programs that are on. I choose not to talk on the phone. I choose not to sleep. There's a lot of choices that come. Each choice is multiple. And I heard somebody say a long time ago, and I thought it was clever until I'd start to take a look. I thought there's a lot of truth to it. Most of the problems I have today are actually solutions I chose to previous problems. I actually chose most of the problems I've got today. Play with that just a little bit, and I think you'll find some truth in it. All the guys in jail in Nashville right now chose to go to jail because they made a choice of some kind that jail was a part of, and they've
Yep.
chosen to be there.
It's in alignment with that. At some point, I set the ball rolling.
Yeah,
I
that's
made
it.
decisions based on self usually.
Yeah,
Put me in this position that I'm in, and I'm wanting to play the victim that look what happened to me.
yeah. That's I was sharing with his mother the other day with a teenage son, and he's out after curfew, and and I said, don't get angry with him. Yelling at him doesn't accomplish anything. Just tell him you're sad that he's made a poor choice. But choice is not singular. You're going to have to keep singing this. He'll eventually get it. That when you chose to stand up after curfew, you also chose to lose your phone for 3 days. Hand it to me. I'm really sorry that you made that choice. I think it's a poor choice, but I'm going to honor your choice. It's a
Mm.
whole different thing from screaming at them. They can take a tremendous amount of screaming and have no effect at all. Take the phone and be sad with them. And it's based on this thing that I believe for a long time. Anger and love never travel together. I mean, I can be angry at somebody and I do love them, but the love doesn't travel with the anger. Sadness and love will travel well together.
Yeah.
Saying, I am really sad about your choice. I think you made a poor choice and it breaks my heart, but I must honor your choice.
Yeah. You know, we almost called you a couple Tuesdays ago in our
Oh,
book reading
call me.
because we come upon that thing about using the word, I have a great sadness.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the room was like, they just mentally couldn't like grasp themselves like coming with those words. And I can't disagree either because I would have trouble, to like, like, and you had said too, and you talked to me personally about this, about like, because saying I'm very sad, it has a different thing. That's got some different energy in it than have a great sadness. And you'd also seem to intimate it a little bit with maybe doing an amend with another person too about.
Yeah. If it's something that riles my anger, I have to pause. God's waiting patiently for me to pause.
Hmm.
Father, I'm angry. I've judged. I judge. My anger always comes from judgment. Please take away the anger and judgment and grant me sadness and love. so I can go back into the situation. Sadness and love travel well together, very well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I brought was like it's, I think it was a little bit of being too much, and the words work and all that, and a lot of times the English language just is not that great. Sometimes,
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
but like the sadness thing was a disarming, where whenever you come to somebody, you're not coming at them like, with
Yeah,
energy that's going to cause them to want to back away from you.
that's
And
right.
also as a way, like it's like the slip and slide from being anger and judgment, and how the sadness is the avenue to maybe get to where that you can get to just the state of love.
It's to open both hearts, mine and theirs.
Yeah.
That
Huh.
I have a great sadness. I'm really, really, really down because of this situation. I need to talk to you about it. I have to
Man,
tell
I
you,
love that phrasing right there. That kind of changed it for me, and I think for my group, that I have a great sadness and I'm really down about having
yeah,
to be at this point right now.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
one person said like and I'll just throw this out here just because I want the discussion, right? And you always say, come, I loved your old talks. You'd say, hey, come up, talk to me about stuff. I don't know if let's discuss it. I can't remember exactly how you used to phrase it, but and now today I have an opportunity to do that. So sometimes, like one person presented the thought that, oh, isn't that kind of like making it all about me again by saying I'm sad? Uh, I have this great sadness, and this is a issue with me that now you need to deal with. I thought, it wasn't a bad point. I love the discussions we have because we're
I do
free.
too.
We're free
That,
just to throw it out there in the middle of the room and
that
wrestle with it.
yeah, that has not been my experience with it. My experience with that phrase has been universally good.
I
It
would expect
opens
so.
my
Yeah.
heart and it opens theirs, and you can feel the pressure go out of the room.
Mm.
It 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 has served me well. It may not be the right thing for everyone,
Yeah, I get it.
but it has certainly served me well.
It may not fit every situation. Obviously, nothing does, but I do love. I do like it, and there's places where I know that'll be a tool for my future, much like a whole lot of other things you've handed me.
If I have to tell somebody something, I'm pretty sure they're not going to like, or it's going to offend them, or it's going to be hard for them to hear.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful, wonderful thing because I am sad for what's about to happen for them. It's a true statement. I have a great sadness. I'm really down about this, but I don't have a choice but to bring it up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it makes me think about the times that, like, my sponsor has needed to bring something to my doorstep that he knew I wasn't going to be real happy about necessarily. I was,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
was just going to
perfect.
receive it with joy, and
Yeah,
and he's always done a wonderful job of this. He says his little phrase is, "I'm gonna put my sponsor hat on for a minute. It's
yeah.
only because I love you, and I believe in this. God's given me this. This didn't come into my heart for no reason." And I would be remiss in my duties as your sponsor if I swept it under the rug and didn't say something. And then what he says, you can do with it what you want. you know,
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything with it. And usually what I have to do is walk away for a day or two and think about it, and then go, okay, all right, I see. My
Yeah.
ego gets a little bruised. I'm
Well,
better. I'm
yeah.
better now. Like you said, I can report progress, not perfection.
Well, that's pretty good stuff.
It is great stuff.
It's pretty good stuff. Um, hey, I always like when we talk about love, I always like to talk about how we're giving it a bad name. There's a phrase that troubles me greatly, and it's the phrase unconditional love.
Mm.
That always rubs my brother the wrong way. And it is because love is by her very nature without condition. The word unconditional does not modify love. And when you say unconditional love, you're implying there's such a thing as conditional love, and there is not. I know many people, and I'm one, who grew up in homes with conditional approval and conditional acceptance where the love should have been.
Mm.
But love is by her nature without condition. Or we say unconditional love, we've actually insulted love. The other one that troubles me greatly is tough love. There's nothing tough about love. Nothing. The only time I've ever seen anybody applying what they call tough love, it looked to me like unresolved control issues. One of my great teachers, a fellow named Don Major, I'm sure you've heard his name.
Sure.
And he
He's a
said,
Louisville boy.
yeah, he said, rigorous honesty is for me, about me. For you, from me, it's compassionate honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty is not to be used as a bludgeon. And that's what tough love is. It's trying to bludgeon somebody into doing something you think they should do. That's just one of my soapboxes.
Yep, I like those things though. Those bring and this is not the first time I've got this from you a couple of times, I think in person and by reading the book. But these things change my perspective. I get different ideas about it because I've got a daughter that's been in addiction, and I know you've had similar things in your family system too, where you like have to like maybe even then, maybe your mind is different now than it was then about like tough
Yeah,
love at that point in time, right?
yeah.
And I've
That's a
changed my
perfect place.
mind.
It's a perfect place for the great sadness.
Yeah.
And for choice is never singular. When you choose this, please notice everything you're choosing. Yeah. One of the most fun things I had, according to this, it was June 28th, which is both of my birthdays
Yeah.
of 2023. And it's a formal notice of immediate termination. It says, "Dear Scott, you're hereby terminated as general manager of your own life. This decision has been based on your abysmal performance. The new general manager, capital G, capital M, universally known as the God of Love, is already in place and doing a splendid job. You are still wanted here, but in a new role. You're now assigned as an apprentice messenger in the mailroom. Your job is to try to carry spiritual messages as directed by the new GM. Having tried to carry a message, whether it appeared to you had been delivered successfully or not, you'll report back to the general manager for a review of your performance and to receive a new assignment. While all of the efforts you have made in the past to run your life are appreciated, your results clearly indicate that you are unsuited for any job in management. There will never be a reason for you to reapply ever. Thank you again, but no thanks." And I signed it. Fired myself as general manager of my own life based on my performance. I left it out, but a good manager would have fired me about 3 decades earlier. I was an abysmal manager, and the new GM is doing a splendid job.
Yeah. I do recall you saying that there was a
Yeah.
5-hour YouTube video and it's laying other places also. And I can never remember exactly the name of it, but it's something promises prayers and it is just beautiful taping of a lot of this same similar message. Although what's cool now is like to hear how it's evolved and deepened.
Yeah.
And it was great then, right? It was really then, but I get tickled to hear because I can kind of, and here's the thing, I'm laying this stuff around. Last night we're at our home group meeting, we do a step every other week and an open topic every other week. So we alternate. So we focus on a step one week when the person gives the lead, and then we do open, just bring something to us and let's talk about it. And last night was step 3. And my good buddy Travis, he was talking about it, about the term in there about a God of my understanding. And we had just read in your book on a Tuesday, because Travis is there, about the thought about it. It's a God of my experience more so than anything that I'm ever understand. Because if there's a chance that I'm starting to get to understand it, then I'm like starting to begin like I'm gonna be up on that level. If I can understand that. And I still love that I'm trying to carry this message. That was the intent of my prayers before every time I do one of these podcasts. I'm trying, like you've said before, I'm apprentice messenger. I'm attempting
Yeah.
to carry this message and just asking for that. Another thing that's changed me lately too is this thought about, and it's hard to change, about asking for God's help and guidance, and the more of the angle of that it's here. Help me, don't miss it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
help me
stopped
pick
praying.
it up.
I stopped praying for guidance about 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it's just been a few months ago for me.
well, because when I pray for guidance, I give God his instructions again.
Yeah.
Big fella, take a knee.
Take a knee.
All right. All right, let's go with the guidance already. And I'm literally giving God his instructions. And then it occurred to me that loving God is sending it every day. And what I ask is, if you have guidance for me in this particular category today, please help me not miss it.
Yeah.
If you don't, fine. Yeah.
I am bending my prayers and my, because some people will talk about in this, there's nothing funner than a bunch of newcomers, right?
Yeah.
Of a guy that's 18 months sober talking about back when he was new.
Yeah.
And you just got, hey, I get it, because I very likely, I'm sure I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And you'd said this too. I hope I always remain a newcomer too at that other level. So,
I need
I
newcomer
get
ears.
that. Yep. And, and I lost my thought because I was laughing about the back when I was a newcomer kind of thing. Uh, Well, I have to keep on talking, or we'll have to keep on a conversation. It'll come back around to me. I had a point, but it got away from me.
Yeah. I've only got two brain cells left. One of them's on a respirator, the other one flickers. So yours must have flickered.
Yeah.
That happens. Yeah. I'm going to share with you this idea about old ideas.
Mm.
I have my own definition of old ideas. It's everything I learned through noon yesterday is now an old idea. Even when I get a new truth, I need to make sure I hold it in an open mind, because it may seem like a pinnacle to me. Wow, look at that. When it's actually a foundation stone that needs to be built on. So I can't close my mind on the new ideas, great as they are when they come. Continue to hold them as old ideas in an open mind. I'll give you an example. When I was new, surrender was a big deal for me. Man, I was an Air Force pilot. This surrender thing is not in my vocabulary. And yet that's what I needed to do. And I surrendered quite a bit when I was new. If I close my mind on surrender, I can't go to the next level. The next level, which is where I was this morning, is volunteer. I did not surrender this morning. There was no fight. I volunteered. But if my mind's closed on surrender, you can't build on that. So I can build on that to volunteer. Close my mind on volunteer, I can't go to the levels above that. I've glimpsed at least three of them, levels beyond that.
Mm.
And they have to do with, I think the next one is not wanting to take credit when God works through me and touches a life. I can externally say it, but internal,
That's not me.
not wanting the credit. And then the next level is not taking the credit. And then the next level is not noticing that. And I watched Sandy and Don Pritz, both of them. And I think being a tool in God's hand was just part of their everyday life. And they were not impressed. I had Sandy trapped in a little cafe one day, just the two of us. And I get around a guy like him, I got nothing to say. I got some questions, but I got nothing to say. And I got him rolling. And at one point I interrupted him. I said, Sandy, you're a fabulous storyteller. He said, yeah, that's my gift. And he just went on. I thought, you're the only guy I know that's not impressed by Sandy Beach. You are the only one. Can you imagine Can you imagine? So this idea of not closing my mind on even when I get a great new one, I can't close my mind on it because it may not be a pinnacle. It may be, but it may not.
It's probably a stepping stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep, those concept that you handed to me, like my book is the book I carry today that I help people as they come in the 12 steps. It's got a whole lot of marks out of things I've made by listening to you. And one of the things, and like I wasn't allowed to put any color ink in my book except for black ink because of that line about black and white. And so it wasn't gonna be no yellow highlighting or pink highlighting or any of this. You used black ink through this process, and my sponsor got that from you and brought it to me and was says, hey, I'm really not that mechanical about this. I'm not that, but let's have some fun with it and let's just stick with
Yeah,
it. And
that's
I
it.
still like it too today.
Well,
But I have an exception because I've went through, well, from listening to you of the various places that you have brought to me about in the book, not all, many places where it talks about these old ideas and these things that we had to change. And I have read underlining around all these spots that talk about that, about over and over again, that I can't get locked down on stuff. And it don't mean that it doesn't mean the old stuff ain't no good. Doesn't
that's
mean
right.
that at all. It
That's
means
right.
exactly what you just said. If I would lock my hands around that, then I can't use it for the stepping stone potentially to what the next lesson is, the next mistake is. So therefore I can learn a lesson by
Yeah,
making a mistake.
that's it. That's it. Yeah. I In this book I tell the story of a flight that I had. We were supporting Operation Deep Freeze, and we left San Francisco and we did a hop to. I'm flying the four-engine jet at 500 miles an hour. We did a hop to Honolulu, and from Honolulu we went to American Samoa. From Samoa we went to Christchurch, New Zealand. 22 hours if it's clockwork, and it never is. We spent 24 hours in New Zealand, and we've taken Operation Deep Freeze scientists that far. They're going to put them in a smaller plane and take them to the South Pole. My plane can't go to the South Pole because we're too fast on landing. You're landing on a sheet of ice at that speed. There's no telling how far you're going. And and then they're going to bring the scientists and we're going to take them back the next day. So the next day, we take up out of Christchurch, New Zealand, and we run about 8 hours to Samoa, take on fuel in Samoa, and we're heading to Honolulu. Halfway to Honolulu, we get into the new fuel. It's contaminated. It's got water in it. At our altitude, the temperature is minus 50. They don't call it water at minus 50. They call it ice. And it clogs the fuel lines. Jet engines do not respond well to fuel starvation. And we come down into warmer air. We haven't had one stuck up there yet. They will come down. And we can run the engines down here because a little water going on is not a big deal for a jet engine. We can run the engines down here, but the problem is we don't have gas to make Honolulu at this altitude. It's already closer to going this to go back. There's nothing.
Because they don't top those things off like we do here
No,
on
you don't say fill it up. No,
Yeah.
you flight plan based on your altitude. And if you get in trouble on an airplane, particularly in a jet, on fuel, you add power and climb.
Hmm.
Your gas mileage is so much better at higher altitude, you'll get that climb fuel back. So we go back up, we can't stay. Because the numbers say we're going to put a 300,000 pound jet airplane in the Pacific Ocean at about 150 miles an hour today, and we're all going to die. I know a lot of people out there have had a moment or two thought they were going to die. We've laid down bikes and wrecked cars and trucks and faced jealous husbands and looked down gun barrels and drug deals gone bad and had knives pulled on us. A lot of us have thought we were going to die in the next moment or two. Let me tell you a secret. 4 hours is a long time to think you're going to die today. And I promised to God, I don't know what I believed at that time, but I promised him if he would get me out of this one, I would quit smoking. That was first. Quit smoking, quit drinking, quit visiting ladies I'm not married to. I'm going back to church, the early service. I might even build some churches. I mean, boy, we're not leaving anything in the bag on this one. And 10 fuel tanks all said zero. The engines are still turning. It looks like it's going. We have a chance. What I decided to do was to shoot what they call a forced landing at Hickam. If I can make high station for a forced landing, I can at least crash on dry land so our bodies can be sent home for burial. That's a conversation in that cockpit. We turned final at Honolulu at 9,000 feet. If they'd quit, then I'd have made dry land. It wouldn't have been pretty, but I'd have made dry land. Landed on the end of that runway, taxied in, and shut them down. And they dipped our fuel tanks like you dip your crankcase to see how much oil you got. We did not have enough fuel left on that airplane to start 4 inches to taxi back to the runway. We did not have that much left. I didn't even check into the hotel, went straight to the bar. Put my bags down the other side of the bar stool. I said, bartender, Mai Tai, pack of Marlboros, right? And this is what I see through the eyes you guys have given me. In those days when I prayed, I was trying to make him my God. But taught here is how to make me his man. I had it upside down. I had so many things upside down. It's just my story. It's just my history.
No. That quote is in my big book from you, because that touched me so much at that whole thing about
Make him my God.
making me, trying to make him my God. That's what I was trying to do the whole time. And when when you changed my mind about that,
yeah, God's hard to train.
Doing where, okay, I'll do what I will be your guy. That's what I'll do. And things changed from that very moment forward.
Yeah, I got a lot of fun.
And we all got those stories of some level, and when you told that story, and although it's a completely different thing, what we do is we connect with one another when you gave your story like that, and I remember I had a brand new baby boy, man, and we had just brought him home, and we were so proud, and he cocked up like 105 fever, and we're back at Children's Hospital in Louisville, freaking out as brand new parents, man, and you know how that all that stuff is, and they got my little baby boy bent over, drawing spinal fluid out of his back.
Wow.
You can hear him screaming down the hallway, and I'm drunk. And I go in the bathroom, man, and sit on the damn toilet and tell God I'll do all that stuff like you said, man.
You bet.
If you'll just save my little boy.
Yeah.
A couple days, not later on, some point in time that I don't recognize anymore. The little boy was okay. Did I change a thing? No, not a damn thing. And there you was, back at it after making those kinds of deals where you kind of like those jailhouse stuff. Brings tears to my eyes because those are those spots, man. And we all have them.
Yeah.
We do.
That's it.
They're all different.
That's it. Yeah. You brought something else to mind for me. I'm going to apologize before I tell this one, because knowledge is a terrible thing. Because once you got it, you can't put it back.
Yeah.
You can't go back to not knowing what I'm about to tell you. And I'd like to apologize for that, because it's going to change some things you're going to do from now on.
Mm.
If I'm faced between two selections, I can do A or I can do B. And I can't figure out what to do. I ask myself this question: which one would I prefer to do? If there's a clear answer, yes, well, I would prefer to do A, then B is the right answer.
Mm.
Because if A were the right answer, there'd be no dilemma. The dilemma is I don't want to do the one I need to do. I'd like to apologize again, because you are stuck with that one, son.
Yeah, no doubt.
That one ain't gonna go away.
Yeah. I've got a friend here that's been on my podcast. And he was a sponsee of Don's here in Louisville.
Yeah.
And he made no bones, and for whatever reason, when he spoke it, I heard it. He's talking about like the fact that, the things he has grown the most from in this program have been the things that he wanted to do the least. These were things I did not want to do.
Yes.
And he said, thank God for having a guy like Don in his life that would help him see that he could, Don, Don was just so cool with his demeanor and how he could just, golly, I think he could pick up a piece of concrete and turn it into silly putty, just with his loving nature, and Bart, my friend, would talk about how Don had lovingly coached him to doing things that thing he didn't want to do, and promising him that this is going to be a thing you're going to need to do, and later on you're going to understand. And Bart said, doggone it, if the sponsor wasn't right again, right? He was
Don was the great listener I was talking about.
Yeah.
He listened with his whole being. Astonishing. I want to.
God, you know, these people, you talk about Sandy, you know, do you know Burns Brady, I'm sir, maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
And Dawn, and you know, and I've been in an age group and you
Yeah.
and where I've gotten to be like, you know, I know this is a little weird, but to be sitting at the right hand of these dudes who are carrying like this message that is, you know, I've heard a lot of preachers talk. What's coming out of men like you and Don and Burns and these kind of things is just it just feels so privileged that I've been able to sit here and be a part of all that.
Me too. Me too. I get it. I get it completely. I want to talk just a little bit about the last chapter in this book, and I almost use this for a title too. And it's Death, the Great Adventure.
Yeah.
You know, death has a bad reputation. You probably noticed that. And if I think of myself as this body, death looks like the ultimate bad deal. And our language encourages that. I'm 6 feet tall. I weigh 200 pounds. I have gray hair. I use that I am and I have like I'm the body. I'm not. I'm the spirit that currently inhabits the body. That changes death from a bad deal to moving day, where I will move out of this beat up efficiency apartment into a universe and more. They tell me that there's a storm on planet Jupiter twice the size of Earth. I want to see it up close and I want to know why it's there.
Hmm.
I want to travel to stars and the nebula. I want to go through the pearly gates and hug my mother and thank her again, and hug my dad and thank him, and see some of these men you and I have been talking about and thank them. God, death was invented by the God of love and is therefore good. It is the great adventure. And I am excited about dying. I'm not particularly eager. It upsets some of the men I sponsor when I talk about this. They have told me that I can't die for the next 10 years. They keep slipping the start date, which I don't think that's right. But I am excited about dying. I'm excited about it. It's the great adventure. And I want to tell you one more story. I was at a conference one time, and a guy who was probably the age I am now came up to me, and this has been a number of years ago, and asked for some quiet time alone. And I went with him. And he said, I've heard you a number of times, and I think you're spiritually connected. I want to tell you what happened and ask what you think. He said, my my wife was in hospice. We'd been together, I don't remember the number, 30 or 40 years, still deeply in love. And it wasn't going to be long. And it had all been said. I'm sitting there holding her hand, and I saw her exhale her last breath, and I knew that's what it was. He said, over the course of the next few moments, I got this wonderful feeling all around my body. I don't know how to explain it or describe it. It was just a wonderful feeling. It lasted about 5 minutes, and then it kind of faded and was gone.
Hmm.
You have a thought on what that was? And I said, yeah, I think I know what it was. I think your wife's spirit was given permission to give you one more full body hug before she headed up to heaven. And I promised in my book at the end to my closest ones that if that's permitted, if God will allow me to do that, when on my moving day, that I will stop and give each of them one more full length hug. I promise.
Yeah. It really, yeah. Yeah. It just, you know, these stories. I
Yeah.
was with my mom when she left.
Yeah.
And I was giving her the Ativan and the morphine in
Yeah.
hospice at home because dad couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that is what I felt at that moment too, was
Wow.
this lightness and this feeling I didn't understand. And I had given her doses, and they told us give her one every time she's agitated. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about giving her too much. Don't worry about it. You're off the hook. And I'm a former drug addict too,
Yeah, I get it.
Here, I've got this morphine and this benzo in my hands. But that was not. And well, I'll get that.
Yeah.
And at one point I had given her the dose, and she took one giant big breath. And then I just saw like all the wind go out of her, like
Yeah.
collapsed.
Yeah.
More than just letting a breath out.
Yeah.
It was way deeper than that. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like audible. It wasn't a big
Yeah, you just saw it happen.
but I just saw it happen, man. And I sit there and I was the only one in the room. And my brother and my father were in the other room. I couldn't say anything. There was a piece of me wanting to go, it just happened, it just whatever. But no, there was some warmth that come around me where I just sat there with her and held her hand, man, and just held on to her and sit there until whatever led me to stop doing that.
And you had a warmth feeling in your whole body.
Yep, all over.
That's what he described. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
It's a
Very personal, very profound thing.
I always tell people that now and again I have these experiences. It'd be like trying to tell you what a strawberry tastes like.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah, right.
You got to have one, and I try to do my best to verbalize that. But as you brought that story back out to think about that time, and there's the end of the story when hospice come back in, and they said, do you have any of that leftover medication you want to get rid of? And I was like, yes. Get this out of here. Because I didn't drug. I was 14 months sober.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted it gone. There was no kind of real urge or anything like that. I just knew that was the right decision.
I want to thank you for sharing that story about your mother with me. That touched me. I cried. And I appreciate it.
Thank you. I got blessed. I hit the jackpot in the mom and dad department, man. And the disease, alcoholism, and addiction did not give a damn. It still got a hold of me, and but I had a good ride out, and I'm still get to hang out with Dad, and still get to do what I'm doing today. Just so blessed. If you're God's favorite kid, I'm someplace in the top end of the lineup.
I want to thank you again for allowing me to do this. This has been a fast hour or so.
Yeah, I have a blast with you every time. I love listening to you.
Well, thank you.
It's been just great, and looking forward to we can make this trip happen. I'll see you here in another couple months. I know you're getting ready to go out of town, do some traveling, and got a pretty busy schedule. I got tickets for the Great Smoky Mountain thing that's in January, end of January.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
You and Bob D, and I got a little troop of folks coming. And,
me and Bob D. What?
That's what I got a flyer that said that in the last weekend of January, Scott L from Nashville and Bob D from Las Vegas are at the Great Smoky Mountain Roundup or something like that.
I didn't know Bob was coming.
I'll send you the little flyer sheet. Okay?
Do that.
Because I was tickled pink, and
because my lady friend Heidi is on that too.
Oh, really? Very cool. That's actually your friend that you talked about?
No, she lives in Pennsylvania.
She's just a friend. Okay.
Just a very, very close personal friend. Actually, she and I are writing another book. Actually, we've got it written. We're working on introduction and preface right now.
Heck yeah. I can't wait to see that too. Yeah.
We're going to publish it when I get back from Bulgaria. Right now, we can't give it any time.
Yeah. As we said, blessed to have these full lives. I'm not busy.
Yeah.
Let's stop telling each other how busy we are.
No.
I have a very full life.
Tell me all about it. You bet. Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. You mean a ton to me, man.
What a joy. Blessings. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening.
Yeah, and you.
Yep. Love you, Scott.
I love you too, Dan. Bye-bye.